Arriving an hour early on the commercial jetty in Denham, we meet the boat and crew which take us on today's adventure to visit Dirk Harthog Island. This boat also doubles up as a way to get supplies to the remote eco lodge, our jumping off point for exploring the island. Within moments, Neil has noticed that the boat has a few more horses than his quad road train, which seems incredible given the size difference. It's a little choppy on arrival, but we manage a beach landing climbing down the stairs on the bow of the boat, onto the sand and head on up to the bar where we are greeted with some coffee and cake. Already we can feel the relaxing and remote energy of this beautiful place and feel like we've landed on Robinson Crusoe's island. The bar is made out of what looks like reclaimed wood, the type that a lot of trendy bars and cafes like to decorate in, but the remoteness of this location hints that it might be more of a practical rather than aesthetic choice. There are plenty of paddleboards and kayaks to borrow, and I'm hoping to try them out if the weather calms down. The winds we've experienced in Denham seem to have chosen Dirk Harthog instead today. We are shown about the shearing shed, a remnant of the Eco Lodge's previous incarnation as a sheep station. Part of the day at Dirk visit is a four-wheel drive trip around some of the island. Heading up over the sand dunes, our skipper-cum-driver Gracie excitedly stops upon seeing this shrub. It's a Tamala rose, indigenous to this region, and this is the first time she's seen it bloom this season. We get out for a closer look, learning of the strong fragrance which makes it a perfect botanical for that gin we'll be sampling later on. Up and over the sand dunes we reach the blowholes, which aren't showing off too much today due to the swell and sea state, but I'll take that if it means a relatively comfortable boat trip home. We can still hear the noise the rushing water makes, which residents historically thought was the sound of a dragon. From here you can see Steep Point, which is the westernmost point of the Australian mainland and the place to catch the vehicle ferry over to the island. We then visit another beach for a walk amongst the dunes and see some of the swell crashing over some of the beautiful rock pools. We return to the Eco Lodge for lunch and to enjoy a gin tasting. Dirk Harthog has 3 gins which are currently made in Perth, but the lodge is hoping to move the distilling to the island. Our time on Dirk Harthog was short due to a weather front coming in, which was also the reason that we left Denham an hour earlier than scheduled. There was still time for some marine life spotting on the way back, and we were fortunate enough to see quite a lot of huge manta rays and a very quick turtle which disappeared before I could capture it on film. The day trip to Dirk was definitely worth doing. It was packed with value, with morning tea, lunch, four-wheel drive trip and gin tasting being included. I think it makes a good alternative for those not able to visit independently, as there are no supplies once you're on the island. All food and fuel you really need to take yourself, and with limited cars and camping on the island you really are very, very remote. You're recommended to take at least 1 jerry can of fuel with you, keeping in mind that sand driving is a little more thirsty than normal driving fuel consumption, and the nearest fuel supply on the mainland is about 180 kilometres from the ferry, so you'd have to factor in 360 kilometres for the return trip before getting onto the island itself. We feel like we're cheating having left the Jeep back on the mainland, but without the capacity to carry the extra fuel and supplies we would need for a comfortable stay, the day trip seemed like a good alternative. The average price for the car fare is around 375 Australian dollars one way as of January 2025, compared to the day trip for about 300 Australian dollars for each of us, and we get a gin tasting as well. Thanks for coming along for the ride to Dirk Harthog. I hope you enjoyed it. While you're here, check out our video on Monkey Mia, another great spot to visit while you're in the Shark Bay region, or one of our many Western Australia videos. See you next time.